Hi, this is Sheri Veronica, and I'm on with Victor Callendar today, and we want to talk about the tough on child abuse, all the laws that are coming in place, the stiff penalties for child abusers, and they're talking about 100,000 fine and up to 10 years in jail for the penalty. So let's talk about that. Victor, say hi to everyone.
Hey, good morning. Well, it's good afternoon, my time here on the west coast of the United States to everybody in Barbados and beyond.
Okay. So go ahead. You start out because you called and you want to talk about it. So it's on your mind. So you go ahead.
I think it's an absolutely fantastic thing to have Barbados to be moving forward into the 21st century.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Put in a stop to rampant child abuse, pedophilia, and other things that have plagued Barbados for so long. I think that the Attorney General of Barbados, in concert with his boss, the Prime Minister of Barbados, have been blessed to have at their disposal for a number of years, even though it has been little utilized, the mechanism to head off child abusers, pedophiles, and others in Barbadian society who predate on children treacherously. And I think that Barbados, over the years, should have used public service announcements and some of the people in Barbados who have available to them wider claim to head off child abusers and predators in Barbadian society. So when I was brought into the knowledge of this situation by you, Sheri, about the government of Barbados and others trying to get at the head of the line to stop child abuse in Barbados or to limit it as best they could, I was immensely happy because, you have been at the forefront of this issue now for 7-8 years, for a long period of time, or more.
Yeah, 10 years, about 10 years now. I've been because I found out about it around the time that I was abused there, and I started shouting about it. How dare you call someone that runs from abuse a criminal? How dare you? So yeah, I was on that from the get-go.
So we have talked about it, even the abusive situation that I suffered through at Wellesley Secondary School myself, which you posted and we dealt with, and it was the only time in many years that I had the fortitude to speak about having been abused in Barbados as a child at Wellesley, and the fact that child abuse had been done, that the child abuser had been in teaching for almost 50 years, and certainly had masqueraded as a decent citizen and had been abusing children. We brought all of that to the forefront. This person was a serialized a predator, as had been the Catholic priests and other denominational priests who had predated on children. So we were able to bring some light to that, and I appreciate you for doing that, Sheri.
You're welcome.
For talking about it. Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad to see that being posterized now is the rampant child abuse that's occurring in Barbados. And that does not bode well for Barbados going forward, because if you can't take care of the most vulnerable in society, namely children, women, and the elderly, people with disabilities, mental or otherwise, sensory or otherwise, then what's the purpose of being of having a governmental institution that you claim is democratic in principle? It really isn't, because you're not protecting the people that are most in need of the institution of government as a whole. Ms. Motley, this is directly to you. You have at your disposal, you and that Attorney General, Dale Marshall, the ability to mitigate the situation of crime in Barbados. And all that's necessary. You're going to have Rihanna performed in America at the Super Bowl on Sunday, and you've named her as one of the heroes of your society there in Barbados, a national hero. Why not use her voice, her celebrity to ask Barbadian youth and those people most susceptible to crime in Barbados? Why do you not use her as an advocate as far as having broadcasts about crime in Barbados and limiting crime and the necessity to bring the crime? Because if you can't bring the crime wave down in Barbados, Miss Mortley, you're going to have problems with your tourism as things get back to relative fluidity in Barbados. I come to you knowing that you're a relatively smart person and that your eye is on the international aspect of Barbadian society, to have some public service announcements. Use Gary Sobers. Use some other people who have some notoriety in Barbados, some people in the music industry with public service announcements, to appeal to these youth to get the crime rate brought down to or lessened. You have the ability to do that, and to do that not only in Barbados but throughout the Caribbean as a whole. There shouldn't be the level of crime in any of those islands if it's not being promoted by, or being promoted, I should say, with ulterior motives. You should be able to solve the problem or reduce it relatively easy.
Mm-hmm.
The public service announcements.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree. And with that said, and with what they have in their newspaper about the $100,000 fine, I mean, if a child is being abused and this thing comes on board, I wonder if the child can get that money when the person is fined. Where does that fine go? Where does that money go? But that's neither here or there. But it would be nice to know that some of that money goes to rehabilitate the child, because it's a life sentence anytime a child is abused. Like how even now you still remember being abused, and we are older people and you still remember that. It's a life sentence. You're going to remember that until you have no memory, until you're gone. So there has to be something in place to give kids some money, some cash, or for them to sit in a psychiatric chair, or sit with a doctor and talk or whatever. But there has to be things in place that even if someone is fined or brought before the court, that the child gets the help that they need.
Exactly. So, we need to be having wardens of the state to look into predatory behavior by adults, even in the home. And also, Barbados needs to pass laws that say that there's no statute of limitations.
Agreed.
Agreed. On predatory behavior.
Yeah, agreed.
None.
Agreed. I've heard a guy in his 40s saying that his next wife is still in kindergarten. I agree. They just wait for children to get to a certain age and then they pluck them. It needs to be looked at. It needs to be stopped. They need to be, even though it may not be illegal if the person is 18, the police should still have a record of men in their 60s and 70s who are plucking young girls and having them sit in their house or whatever. That is something that should be policed. It's not you can't make it a criminal act, but it should be something that there should be a record of things like that, because you will have an idea, like I don't know where to go with what I'm saying, but I know what.
Euphemistically, Sheri, the colloquial speak is that there are grown men walking around, and not only in Barbados but throughout the Caribbean, saying that after 12 is lunchtime. Mm-hmm. So they think that it's okay to have sex with children after 12 years of age.
Right, it's horrible.
And that saying is prevalent, is pervasive.
But like I said, I think it's something that even though it may not be criminal, I'm not talking about 12, I'm talking about at 18 now. If it's not criminal, I still think it's something that the police should make a record of. I don't know why, but I just think that.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
I agree. There should be no, just like murder, It is one and the same. One is the loss of life. The other is the
10
loss of
minutes.
life. They're
Okay.
both the same.
Yeah. So let's
You're living with yeah.
Go ahead. Just conclude and then we get off because it's over 10 minutes.
Yeah. So yeah, they're both the same. Both loss of life.
Right.
Being predated upon and being killed.
Right.
It's both the loss of life.
It's a life sentence. I agree. I agree. Thank you, Victor.
You're welcome.
This is Sheri Veronica.